to Paris virtually. And to every woman listening today, whether you're a CEO, a manager, a young graduate, a mother rebuilding with her life, or a woman who is quietly carrying heavy responsibilities, this talk is for you. Let me start with a sentence I never expected to say in a women's leadership summit. I graduated and became unemployable, not because I lacked education, not because I lacked ambition, but because the market didn't know what to do with me yet. And honestly, I didn't know what to do with myself. So many leadership talks begin with success. Mine begin with silence. And that's why today I'm not here to motivate you with believe in yourself lines. I'm here to do something more useful. Let's turn the page. So I'm going to take you through 7 chapters of my entrepreneurship journey, from unemployability to global stages. But here's the difference. Each chapter will have 3 parts. 1, the situation I faced. 2, the act I took. 3, the gain I earned. And for you, more importantly, each chapter will give you a tool you can use immediately. So by the end of this keynote speech, you will not only feel inspired, you will leave with a practical blueprint to lead with purpose, passion, and impact inside your organization, inside your community, and inside your life. If you remember only one line today, remember this. Do not chase permission, build proof. Because unstoppable voices aren't born loud. They are built step by step through proof, purpose, and impact. So let's begin. This is chapter 1. Chapter 1 is what I call the unemployability chapter. Here is what I was facing at that time. The situation was I graduated in 2009 from engineering, full of hope. In my mind, I was already imagining my future, but the world didn't welcome me with opportunities. It welcomed me with long moments of unemployment. And the hardest part wasn't the lack of income. The hardest part was the feeling that everyone is moving forward and you're still standing at the starting line. That season taught me something I didn't know at that time. When life takes away your title, it reveals your identity. So I made a decision, and this was the act. Instead of asking who will hire me, I started asking, what can I build in myself that no one can take from me? I turned unemployment into a private training season. I treated my days like a self-made university, reading tons of books, not because I was strong, but because I was afraid of becoming a person who waits. And here's what that decision gave me, the gain. And the gain was not a job, not at first. The gain was something more important. I gained inner authority. I gained the ability to say, I may not have a role yet, but I still have value. Now, let me turn this into something you can use. Tool number 1, the value sentence. If your job title disappears tomorrow, can you still introduce your value? Write this one sentence. I help achieve by. Let me model it to you. For example, I help organizations unlock employees' potential by building corporate training academies that scale. That one sentence becomes your anchor in uncertain seasons, because when you know your value, you stop begging for doors, you start building keys. Now keep that tool because the next chapter will test it. Once I stopped waiting for a title, I became ready for the moment that would change my mindset completely when I met entrepreneurship. So chapter 2 was meeting entrepreneurship. This is the moment my brain got upgraded. So let me show you this chapter. Here is what I was facing at that time. The situation was, as one day I saw an announcement, a program to create an unemployability solution organized by Intel and the Queen Ryan Center for Entrepreneurship. And something inside me said, maybe my problem is not only mine, maybe it's a system problem, and maybe I can help solve it. So I entered a hackathon. Now imagine this. I was not a startup founder. I was not a businesswoman. I wasn't even employed, but I entered anyway. So I made a decision, and that was the act. I joined the team. We worked under pressure. We argued, iterated, tested, failed, improved fast, and we won the second place. That moment changed my life, not because of the prize, but because it gave me a new identity. I realized I'm not just someone seeking opportunity. I can be someone who creates solutions. That was the first time I touched that mindset of entrepreneurship. But the deeper lesson was this: unstoppable voices are born the moment you stop waiting to be chosen. And here is what that decision gave me: the gain. The gain was agency, the gain was possibility. I gained new belief. Even if I'm not ready, I can still enter the room. Now, let me turn this into something you can use. Tool number 2, the pain to opportunity scan. Ask yourself a question: what pain do I keep saying again and again at work or in society that I can turn into a solution? And then ask a second question: what is one small experiment I can run this month to test a solution? Because entrepreneurship begins as an experiment, not a title. And this is where I learned: don't chase permission, build proof. Now keep that tool because the next chapter will expand it. Winning the hackathon didn't just give me the confidence, it gave me a question. If I can build solutions in a hackathon, can I build them inside an organization too? That's how entrepreneurship was born. So, my chapter 3 in my journey was the intrapreneurship birth. And entrepreneurship is different from entrepreneurship. This is where entrepreneurship becomes intrapreneurship inside companies and organizations we work for. Here is what I was facing at the time. My situation was at some point in our careers, many of us face this truth. We are inside an organization, we have constraints, we have hierarchy, we have policies, we have budgets, and we have two choices. Either we become employees who only execute tasks, or we become entrepreneurs who build assets. So I made a decision, and that was my act. The birth of my entrepreneurship was when I stopped asking, what's my job description? And started asking, what system can I build that will still create value even when I'm not present? I began building initiatives, models, programs, solutions, things that can scale. I approached learning and development like engineering. I define a problem, define the system, measure the outcome, improve continuously. And here is what that decision gave me. My gain was. The gain was not just performance, the gain was credibility. Because in organization, credibility doesn't come from talk, it comes from one thing: assets, programs, frameworks, dashboards, processes, results. Now let me turn this into something you can use. Tool number 3, the asset test. Ask ask yourself, if I leave tomorrow, what can still work because I built it? If the answer is nothing, you're doing tasks. If the answer is a system, a process, a framework, a product, you're building assets. And assets give you power without politics. They make your voice unstoppable because your impact becomes undeniable. Now keep that tool because the next chapter will challenge it. But the moment you start building assets inside the system starts pushing back. And that's why the next chapter is unavoidable resistance. Chapter 4, the resistance chapter. This is always my favorite chapter and the hardest one, honestly, because every woman who becomes visible meets resistance. Here is what I was facing at the time. Resistance doesn't always look like someone yelling no. Sometimes it looks like silence, delay, bureaucracy, ignoring your email, questioning your credibility, giving you more work but less authority, or labeling you as too ambitious. Resistance is the moment you realize you're not only building an idea, you're building your identity in a system that may prefer you small. So I made a decision, and that was my act. I stopped taking resistance personally and started taking it strategically. I treated resistance as a feedback about the system. Who has power? Who has fear? Who benefits from the current way? What proof is missing? I learned to stop fighting people and start influencing structures. And here's what that decision gave me. The gain was resilience, but not the strong women kind. The gain was strategic resilience, the kind where you can stay soft inside but strong in method. Now, let me turn this into something you can use. So, tool number 4, the influence map. Draw 4 boxes and identify the sponsor who can say yes in your organization, allies who will support you, blockers who may resist, proof needed, what evidence will shift the conversation. When women do this, something powerful happens. They stop feeling helpless and start moving intentionally. Because unstoppable voices aren't emotional reactions, they are strategic instruments. Now keep that tool because the next chapter is where many entrepreneurs fail. Resistance taught me how to build strategically. Advocacy taught me how to be seen strategically. And here is chapter 5, the advocacy chapter. This is where many entrepreneurs fail, not because they lack value, but because they don't advocate for it. Here's what I was facing at that time. So the situation is you can build incredible work inside your organization and still be invisible. You can create results and still be underestimated because impact without advocacy is like light without direction. So I made a decision. I started advocating. I began blogging, speaking at public events, using social media. And one day I wrote a blog post that went viral. Why I'm not afraid of losing my job? Because I'm an entrepreneur. That title was not arrogance. It was a declaration of independence. It was me saying, my security is not a position. My security is my ability to create value. And here's what that decision gave me. The game was visibility with meaning, not vanity visibility, but strategic visibility. It attracted opportunities, partnerships, credibility. Now, let me turn this into something you can use. Tool number 5, numbers plus narrative pitch. Every time you advocate, combine one metric, a number, one human story, a transformation, one ask, what you need. So I will give you an example. So we achieved X, it changed Y for people. Now I need D to scale it. That's how you become unstoppable in organization, not by being loud, but by being clear. Now keep that tool because once your work becomes visible, it starts traveling. And once your work becomes visible, it starts traveling farther than you expected, until one day it brings you to stages you never planned for. And here's we come to that chapter number 6, the global stage chapter. This is the chapters people see on LinkedIn, but they don't see the chapters before it. Here's what I was facing at the time. At some point, your work speaks for you. You get recognized, you get invited, you get seen, and here's the danger. Sometimes women reach a stage and shrink on it. They feel guilty for being visible. They fear being judged. They minimize their achievements. But the global stage taught me something. Visibility is not ego. Visibility is responsibility. So I made a decision. And that was my act. Whenever I step on a stage, I will not represent myself only. I will represent the woman who did not get invited, the young girl who thinks she's not enough, the silent talents inside organizations, and the future entrepreneurs I want to create. And here's what that decision gave me, the gain. The gain was a multiplier effect because global stages do not just amplify your voice, they amplify your mission. Now, let me turn this into something you can use. Tool number 6, the 60-second story. When you introduce yourself anywhere, use the same structure again. Situation, action, result. Then the listen. Problem I saw, action I took, result achieved, listen, learn. This makes your voice portable. It works in interviews, meetings, panels, and keynotes. And it transforms your identity into a story people remember. Now keep that tool because the next chapter is the real finish line. But I realized something on the global stage. The real victory isn't being heard. It's creating more voices that will be heard after you. So chapter 7, the coaching chapter. This is my newest chapter. Here is what I was facing at the time. After years of building, speaking, and scaling, I realized impact that depends on one person is fragile. Real impact multiplies through people. So I asked myself, what if I turn what I learned into a structured path so I can prepare the next generation of entrepreneurs? So I made a decision, and my act was that's why I'm starting my online training and coaching academy to equip the next generation with the mindset, tools, systems to lead from inside organizations, not as employees who wait for promotions, but as entrepreneurs who build assets, influence change, and create value. And here's what the decision gave me. The gain is legacy. Because the ultimate unstoppable voice is not the voice that shines alone, it's the voice that creates voices. Now, let me turn this into something you can use. And the tool number 7, the one woman up rule. Make it a leadership practice. Every milestone I reach, I lift one woman with me. One introduction, one recommendation, one coaching session, one door opened. That's how unstoppable voices become movements. And again, do not chase permission, build proof. And now, let me turn my journey into your next step. Before I close, I want to leave you with a simple challenge, not a motivational quote, a plan. The 7-day unstoppable voice sprint. So in day one, write your value sentence. I help, achieve, buy. In day two, identify one pain you can turn into a solution. In day three, create one proof artifact, a mini framework, a one-page plan, a prototype, anything you can do. In day four, ask for one opportunity, one meeting, one project, one seat at the table. In day five, pitch using numbers plus narrative plus the ask. And in day six, publish your 60-second story publicly. In day seven, lift one woman with you, one door, one message, one mentorship moment. Because unstoppable isn't personality, it's a practice. Let me end where I began. I started as a graduate who felt unemployable. I didn't become unstoppable because I was fearless. I became unstoppable because I learned how to build proof, and because I chose purpose over comfort, and because I decided my voice is not just mine. So here's my closing line to you. An unstoppable voice isn't the loudest voice. It's the voice that builds and then brings others with her. Thank you so much. And was my speech. And if anyone have any questions, I will be happy to answer.